Hey, so something that I learned a while back that was a really powerful tool for me to be able to shift my emotions, my feelings, my mood very quickly, and to be able to kind of snap myself into a higher level of vibration, attitude, or as I like to think of it, being able to elevate, right? From wherever you're at to elevating to a higher altitude. And I want to say this before I dive in any further is this is not, from my experience and my perspective, a tool for processing, letting go of things that you actually have to work on, right? The things in your subconscious, in your shadow, in your psyche, that are the things that may be causing all kinds of disempowering negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, and so forth. The way I've used this, what I'm about to share with you, it simply works as a very powerful, effective, acute tool in the moment to elevate. Okay? So the idea is this. A lot of times we can go through life and we're about to go into a moment, an experience, people, places, things, our day-to-day life, whatever it is. And it's just like, you're on your last nerve, right? You're on your last nerve. You got nothing left in you. Um, or, you're just daunted. You're overwhelmed. You could be experiencing a state that doesn't feel very empowering in a lot of different ways. Now, what I have found that works really well, and I read about this in a book some time ago, is imagine yourself 20 years from now. So you're you, but 20 years older. So when I'm making this video right now, it's 2024. So in this hypothetical scenario, it's 2044, right? So I imagine that that you're you 20 years from now. What would you give to be able to come back to this moment and get a chance to relive this moment, this hour, this day, the life you're having right now? I'll really think about that. For some reason, when I read this and when I first learned about this, it really, really struck home for me. It is like a donkey kick between the eyes, because as I read about it, I then immediately started to use it, to imagine it. And I was floored, for me, how powerful this is, this tool. Viktor Frankl wrote something along the lines of, imagine that you are living this moment, or that you're getting a second chance to relive this moment again. And the first time you lived it as wrongly as you're about to live it right now. I'm paraphrasing there. So I tie that back to, for example, when, I might be getting into a conversation with somebody and I find it annoying, somebody that I do generally and genuinely care about, a friend, a family member, and so forth, where it's like, oh, this bullshit again. But that's when I'm like super in that moment. But if I can remember to think 20 years from now, 20 years from now, they're going to be 20 years older. I'm going to be 20 years older. So much life and time will have passed. In 20 years from now, how will I wish I had been 20 years ago? which is right now, this moment. Do you get what I'm saying? Or it's like you wake up in the morning, for some reason you're just getting bombarded by seven hells, right? Just every negative thought on earth, every single thing that could be that's kind of like not going in the right direction in life might be suddenly at the forefront of your mind. And it seems like the day is just starting off with one implosion or explosion after another. That happens. And it's really easy to get caught up in our heads over that, right? To get super caught up in our minds, to get really worked up. I call it getting wrapped around the axle, right? It's like it's super easy to get wrapped around the axle, especially when you've got like one thing after another just coming at you. And that sort of like, have a positive mindset, Pollyanna type stuff doesn't work for me. But what does work for me is to take a few deep breaths, try to sit down and be still for a minute, and then imagine I'm 20 years older and I'm remembering this day, this morning, whatever it is. I'll probably chuckle. In 20 years from now, what wouldn't I give to get a chance to come back to this level of health, this level of fitness, this level of youth and opportunity? 20 years ago for me today I was 17. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. A lot has passed since I was 17 years old, man. You know what I mean? So much has happened in my life since I was 17. It's incredible if you think about that. I don't know how old you are, but probably I would imagine for a lot of you, you're old enough that you can think back 20 years and you would be of like reasonable cognitive function age where you have like reasonable cognitive memory. And if you are old enough for that, I bet there's so many moments that you, just like I, already today, what wouldn't I give to go back to some moments and make some different decisions and relive them a little different? So many windows closed and opportunities lost. Um, so many moments where I could have been a better version of myself and so forth, right? Well, just imagine that you 20 years from now is going to feel the exact same level of, oh man, like excitement or zeal or the opportunities I had about you today. Like that 20 years from now is going to look back on you today and be like, oh man, the world was at my feet. I had the world at my fingertips. I could have done so much. There's so many opportunities. But what happens is that it's really hard to see them day to day right now because we oftentimes are so wrapped up in our bullshit, right? Our problems, our challenges, making ends meet for bills. 10 years ago, even not even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I had so many opportunities, so many things I could have done, but I didn't. And there also were many things that I did do, and I'm so glad I did. And there are things I'm happy I didn't follow through on or do that I could have that would have been bad for me. I'm sure you can, relate and have those same moments, have the same kind of things to look back on too. But for me, what happens is that when I imagine and ask myself, what wouldn't I give 20 years from now to come back to me today and get to do this a second time? The grass is just greener. The air is crisper and cleaner. The coffee tastes better. The cigar is sweeter. I'm more grateful for the moment that I'm in. not in some like fake toxic positivity manufactured bullshit way, but like I'm genuinely can be like, you know, shit's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. Look at everything I've gone through already. Look where I'm at, and I'm still here, and I've trended up, and I'm still here, and I've made ends meet, and I've been to the bottom of some really dark valleys in my life, and I've been to many mountaintops, and like the Elton John song goes, I'm still standing. Na 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 na. I can't sing for shit. But you know the song I'm talking about, probably. So that's all I want to share with you today. Just offer that tool to you today. Little like a thought hack. I hate the word hack because it's overused, you know. It's been hacked. But yeah, imagine that you're 20 years older. What wouldn't you give to come back? And when you really really get into that frame of mind for even 60 seconds, 30, 60 seconds and sit there, you're excited for the conversations with those people that sometimes you find annoying, you know? You're grateful to be around the people that you take for granted sometimes now. What's also really interesting is that this need to be right gets turned way down. This need to be perfect dissipates. This need to like control a situation relaxes. And what replaces it for me is this excitement to just live the moment, to get to experience it, to hear somebody's voice, to get to be part of a conversation, to get to spend this time, this moment, to truly be more aware of it, instead of being just run on autopilot by the undercurrent of all the anxiety driven thoughts in the background while thinking or pretending to be present in the moment. So, yeah, just think about that. What wouldn't you give 20 years from now to come back to this moment? And then, like my man Viktor Frankl said, imagine that you are getting a second chance to live this moment right now. And imagine that the first time you lived it. You lived it as wrongly as you just did or are about to. And then live it with the zeal and the mindset of somebody who's getting a second chance. If the same goes for you as has gone for me, you'll find that you suddenly start to enjoy your moments a lot more, even if sometimes you got a lot of shit on your window to wipe off on your proverbial car as you go through life.